Eskom's broken promises on load shedding are catching up with the utility. Trade Union Cosatu wants the board ousted immediately. Load shedding is back and technical malfunctions are behind the power cuts. Well, for more on this, Cosatu General Secretary Becky Chali joining me now. Cosatu calling for the removal of the Eskom board amid all the load shedding. Becky, good evening, and thanks for your time. So, what's your reason? I mean, yes, of course, we're angry with Eskom. This is a board that is almost 2 years old. Your particular reasons for this call? It is the combination of all the reasons that you have said. When there was appointed in January 2018, there was a big hope, and this was the best people, as we may heard from the president, that he had hope they are going to turn around Eskom. They promised many times, including the minister, including what Jabu Mabuza have said yesterday, that the days of load shedding are over. But here we are today, we're having a load shedding in summer, for that matter, in fact, which is the time normally used for servicing the Eskom machinery, in terms of, because the demand is lower than in winter. Yeah. But in our case, is the opposite. But in all the things that they promised to do, to clean it up, to get the right personnel, to recover money, to negotiate the contract, or to cancel the contracts that were dubious in dealing with those issues. They are not telling any story about those issues. Instead, they are just coming back and said, we have lost 21 billion this year, but prepared. Next year, we're going to lose another 20 billion. When they were asked, is there any plan? And then they seem to be saying, no, there's no plan. They don't know what they are doing. In our view, when people are honest as that, when people cannot longer tell you anything that gives you hope, is the time for them to go. So, you know, the argument might be, that we have inherited these problems, we're doing our best, we're dealing with everything that has happened before we came on. They might say they're fairly new. I mean, they were appointed, what, in January last year? So 2 years in a crisis is a very long time. But worse off, they're not telling us what is it that they've done. I mean, the question of maybe one element of all the mess that they are cleaning up, at least they must tell us a good story. They must say, these are the 6 things that we wanted to do. 4 of them we have done them, maybe 1 or 2 remaining, so that we can have a hope that if you give them a little more time, they're going to be able to turn the situation around. They're not doing anything. I mean, from where we are, from what we are hearing, from what they are telling us, the mere fact that they could not get even the COO, when somebody resigned in Eskom and said, in 6 months' time I'm resigning, get somebody in my place. They failed to do that one. Instead of getting an acting CEO separate from the chairperson, they conflicted the position and the task. That is a clear failure of the board in our view. So, would removing them now mean starting all over again? And is that really, can we actually afford that if your wish comes true and this happens, or your call is heard? Look to us that behind them there's the institution that is there. There's something that they are supposed to be doing. The machinery, they have to be setting up machinery and say, this is the machinery. If you fail, want a plan? The work plan. If you fail to lead it, it's like a coach of a team. When the coach fails, you can't then say, no, if we remove this coach, has failed dismally, therefore we're going to start afresh. No, there's a team, there's a machinery. If they've been putting something in place, you need somebody that will kick some parts a little bit and say, we got a mandate, it's an urgent situation, we're in a crisis. But if it's going to be normal, as it seems to happening, there's no deadline that they said 3 months or 3 months down the line are going to sort it out. Is not helping us. Any suggestions from you as to who would be the ideal coach? Who would be the person? Who would you like to see on the board? We have not come there because it may seem to be said we are just pushing these people because we've got other people, our own people, to put it in. No, we have not come to that situation. We think if the president says, look, I'm going to be reviewing the board, let South African, even business people, to second people, not on the basis that it must be privatized, but second people with skills who can turn things around. I think there are many South Africans that can do a better job than the current one. We haven't heard much from Public Enterprises Minister Pravin Gordhan in this time. I mean, does it worry you? It does. I mean, it does. We talked to him about when they were appointing Jabu Mambuza. We said to him, this is a bad decision you ever have taken. You just make us to lose confidence in you. How did you allow it? His response was that it's permissible in law. He said, it's not about law, it's about morals. You need to do the right things for people to get confident that Eskom is turning it around. Some of the contract they have should have been cancelled a long time ago in our view.
And I'd like very quickly, while I have you here, Becky, just your thoughts on the integrated resource plan that we heard today, that we got from Gwede Mantashe.
Look, we had the generics. We had this thing tackled by Jeff in NetLag. It needs still need the energy mix. We have no problem with the energy mix. In fact, we're saying you can look to the question of the nuclear, but it's expensive now. We can't afford to the wind, to the renewable energy, to many, many others. A combination, the future of coal, the clean energy even in the coal. But more important for us was that the state must be involved in the production of the renewable energy. It can't be left to independent power producers.
Okay, thanks very much for your time. Cosatu General Secretary Becky and Charlie just talking about their call for the removal of the Eskom board amid just our current troubles as a country.